Hey everyone, I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Spring 2022 FLC. This is an FLC that's sponsored by the Chancellor's Learning Scholars Program. For those of you that may not be aware of it, because there are different FLCs out there, this one is part of a USG-wide effort to kind of push these faculty learning communities out there across all the campuses. And so they provide some funding and training to some folks that can facilitate these things. So I was very grateful to apply and be selected to do this. This is my second year. It was a 2-year commitment. My first year, I tried to do one just within the School of Business. It didn't work out that well. We had a good time and we got a lot out of it, but I didn't have the engagement that I wanted to have in terms of the number of participants. And honestly, I really enjoy my interaction with folks across campus. So I wanted to really be able to reach out and this time around and try to build a group that had some representation from across the different communities on campus. And I think that that goal was achieved. I think we have a nice mix of folks, and I'm really looking forward to working with all of you. I think it's a good opportunity, good time, and we're going to be talking about a good topic. It's going to be this book here, Distracted by James Lang, Why Students Can't Focus and What You Can Do About It. So I thought this was a particularly interesting book. We've got some materials that have been provided to me by the USG to go along with this book. They actually read this book as part of theirs, so when I told them that this is what I had planned on doing, they were like, hey, we'll share whatever we have. And of course, I'm big on that. I'm like, hey, you know what? If I don't have to reinvent the wheel, I will gladly take and repurpose whatever it is that you have, and we'll make use of it. So the logistics for this, I think, is going to be that we'll plan to meet online. That seems to be everyone's preference, or most people's preferences. So I think that that will be the way we'll kind of go with in the spring, especially since the new COVID variants are out there and the mutations, and so that who knows what's going to happen in the future. But these web-based meetings and web-based presentations have been working fine, and so I think that's what we'll continue with. So, at any rate, for those of you that are not too familiar with me, again, my name is Carl J. Gabrini, and I am a professor in the School of Business. I teach accounting. While that is my teaching duties here, my background is a little more varied than that. I happen to have I'll give you my educational history, just because I'm a nerd, and so I like to do that. So I have a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from Stony Brook University up in New York that was earned quite some time ago. Then I have an MBA from a small school called Dowling College. They are no longer around. They fell victim to what so many of these small private schools fell victim to and ended up having to close their doors. So that was a real shame. I enjoyed being an alumni of an alumnus of that particular school. I enjoyed my time there. But then I earned a second master's degree, a Master's of Science in Taxation from the University of Central Florida, go Golden Knights. Then I went on, after working some time, I went back to school to earn my doctorate. It's a PhD in Public Administration from Florida State University, go Seminoles. Then after that, I still wasn't finished yet, and so I went to the University of Florida, go Gators, and earned my postdoc in accounting and finance there. So I've been through quite a few different educational programs, plus the whole myriad of webinars and on-site training and everything else that I seem to sign up for and get involved with. So I need to start turning some more of this stuff into written publications. Not that I haven't published anything. I have published a few things, hopefully enough to keep me in good graces here at the college. But I do enjoy the writing and the publishing side of it, but I'm just a real avid learner. I just love to learn. So, and I really enjoy the teaching part of it. I have to admit, I wasn't a natural born teacher. I found that when I navigated my way from practice over to teaching, it was not a smooth transition by any stretch of the imagination. And I found myself struggling to find my place and find my way. And it took me several years to kind of find a path forward. And then even once I identified that path forward, it's taken me several years to kind of work that path forward out. And I still feel like I'm not there yet. I guess there's always that little bit more that you can do. You can do a little bit better. And so I'm working at the margins and trying to improve myself every year. I hate to admit this, but boy, I tell you what, it gets real discouraging reading course evaluations sometimes. I teach I teach some pretty tough classes, and students tend to struggle in them, and the course evaluations can be pretty harsh, and so I look for things in there that I can kind of work with and improve on. But boy, I tell you what, sometimes it just tears me apart inside reading those things. Plus, I don't like it that the students, if they're stressed out and anxious, I understand that. I've been in their shoes on many occasions, and so I kind of understand it. But at any rate, so that's my educational background, and that is how I kind of came to be a teacher. I had been working in the field. I started in fast food and retail, and then shifted over to manufacturing and worked in a manufacturing environment for quite some time. And then I ended up moving over into government. And well, before I got into government, I actually did a stint in higher education administration. I was a grants and contracts manager for a private research school, and so I managed research grants. And then after that, I transitioned into being an auditor for the state of Florida and audited state agencies and special programs and special legislative requests over the years, and did that for about 12 years. And then shifted over to teaching. And I've been in the USG for my entire time, so I guess this is my 11th year. In my 11th year teaching with the University System of Georgia, I've been at 3 different institutions. I started at college in coastal Georgia, where I was for almost 5 years. I spent 2 years at Columbus State, a good school, good folks. It just didn't work out for me there. And then I had the opportunity, a real good opportunity, to move here to Dalton, and now I'm in my 5th year here at Dalton. Hey, I actually have to go up for tenure after this year. Really nervous about that. Let me tell you what, I get anxious about when there's nothing to get anxious about. So, throw tenure on top of that, and, oof, and I've been under the tenure cloud for quite some time. So, so it tends to make me a little anxious. But at any rate, I'm finishing up my 5th year here. And so I'm real excited about that. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be working with all you fine folks. So that's a little bit about me. I'm married. I have one son who is following in my footsteps. He's in a master's program at at Florida State University in communications, and he is currently applying for their PhD program and would like to be a college professor like his old man. So, hey, not accounting. That's okay. Doesn't have to be. He's a very good communicator, and maybe in some ways he's a lot better than I am. And I also think he's going to be a better professor and a better researcher than I am as well. I think he's a whole lot smarter than I am. So that's a good thing, I guess. So I'm proud of him. And then, of course, my wife, she works locally here. She's currently just in transition. She's transitioned from Mohawk to Shaw Industries, and she works in corporate communications. So she's kind of enjoying her work. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't have any pets, although I've been thinking about a therapy dog. Being someone who's diagnosed with anxiety, I guess I'm eligible for applying for a therapy dog. So I don't know. Now that we own our place here that we have, we're not renting anymore. That opens up the door for being able to have a pet. And so I thought, yeah, I live vicariously through other people's pets, and so I enjoy, when I go over to friends' houses or, for Bible study or something like that, I usually spend a lot of time with their pets, and so I just really enjoy that. They seem to calm my nerves down a little bit. So maybe a therapy dog would be a good thing. At any rate, so, but again, as promised, I wanted to do this video introduction. Of course, when you do yours, it doesn't have to be as lengthy as mine. I kind of feel like, since I'm the facilitator and reached out and asked everybody, I know some of you know me and from interacting with me in various ways. In some past FLCs, some the past book clubs, some in John's case, John works with me. but I never know who knows what about me. I'm originally from New York. I was born and raised there. I didn't move to Florida until I was, I guess about 27 years old, or thereabouts. It was 1991, I think, when I moved. And then lived in Florida until I got the job at coastal Georgia. And then I've been living here now for the past 11 years in Georgia. And I like Georgia. It's a nice state. It's been real pretty. And I'll tell you what, there's no place like Dalton and the Dalton area. You look to the north, there's some beautiful landscape there. You look to the east, and there's beautiful landscape there. And you look to the west, and there's beauty in the landscape there as well. There's lots of history in this area, which is really great. I mean, if you try to draw a circle of about 4 hours, all the way around, there's just so much to see just in that 4 hour circle around Dalton. It's incredible. So, and hopefully, as over time, especially with COVID maybe settling down, we'll see, get out there and see some of that. But anyway, what the topic is, let me talk a little bit about this topic and why it came up. And I was really looking for something that got at this idea of, distractions. I teach in the classroom and I teach online, and I kind of notice it's hard to get the students to really stay focused and to engage in the classroom. And I kind of always wonder, well, what gives? What are some of the reasons why maybe they don't? Some of them, maybe they're just bored. They're not really into the topic that much. Maybe they don't have the intellectual curiosity that I have. I was pretty much always interested in, well, most of the time I was interested in the topic I was studying. And just out of curiosity, I'd stay kind of engaged and connected. But I also find that there's a lot of technology out there that might be helping with the distractions. I see a lot of students with their cell phones out, a lot of folks that are working on tablets and laptops, and oftentimes I suspect that they might be doing something other than doing work for my class, especially if we're having a discussion or if I'm lecturing about something or doing a demonstration problem on the board. I sometimes wonder if they're working on something else. And I always kind of ride the edge as far as, should I tell them that they need to put all their technology away, or is that just being like too harsh, too strict? I never quite know which way to go on that one. And I look forward to hearing what some of you guys think about it. I really do, because I still don't have a good answer for questions like that. But I do know this. I want to make sure that my students are getting the most out of the class. I kind of feel like if the students stay engaged and they're paying attention and they're not distracted, it will also make me a better professor, because honestly, it does impact me. It might cause me to have an off day if the class is particularly disconnected on that day. It kind of can feel discouraging to me anyway, or make me feel discouraged. So, but at any rate. So I'm really looking forward to this book. I've read through just a little bit of it. I'm going to be first to tell you, I haven't read through the whole thing yet, and I do plan on reading it all the way through. But there's something else I'd like you to take a look at if you get a chance. I'm going to try to change my screen here and flip it around. There is this, move this down. There is this MIT Open Courseware, and this particular one is How to Speak by Patrick Winston. He has passed away. Nice man from what I understand. I did a little bit of reading about him. He taught artificial intelligence at MIT, so he taught a very technical topic. And yet what he did here in this particular lecture, and it lasts for just over an hour, is talk to students about how to speak. And I've watched this, and I'm going to watch it again and again. I'm going to do it a couple of times because I'm taking some notes as I go. But I really found this to be quite interesting. It's a very simple approach. He is a little bit on the, I don't want to say draconian side, but he has certain beliefs that he holds to and believes are supported by theory, by research. And so, he has reasons for why he has done the things he's done in his career as far as managing his classroom and what his expectations are. And so I read an article in Inc. magazine about this particular individual, and that's what kind of turned me on to the video here. And so I was going to share this with you guys and see if you guys wanted to watch it as well, and maybe we can talk about it in one of our early discussions in the spring semester. Now, I haven't decided in terms of days and times of when we're going to meet for doing this session. Haven't kind of figured that out yet, so I thought what I would do is kind of put together a poll and see what folks preferred in terms of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday gathering, daytime or evening. You know, because we're online, I figure it leaves us pretty flexible, and so I want to keep all the options on the table and see what folks really want to do. All right, so at any rate, I talked a little about myself. I've talked a little bit about my interest in the topic and what I hope to get out of this, and shared what the resource is. Again, the resource is an interoffice mail to you guys. I know John already has his copy. The rest of you should be receiving it sometime early next week because I did put them into interoffice mail. I packaged them up Monday afternoon, and then I believe they were picked up on Tuesday. So they should be on their way. And I figure I don't know how long it takes things to get around campus, but so sometime early next week you should have your book, and hopefully we can read it over the break. So what I'm hoping everybody can do, again, my version here is a little bit longer than yours needs to be, but if you could just maybe do a short 5-minute video, just introduce yourself to the group. I know probably most of you know everybody, but there's a lot of information that I don't know about people, and I really would like to get to know. I think it helps with the group. So if you do like a 5-minute video introducing yourself, a little bit of your background, tell us a little bit about yourself, in terms of education, in terms of family interests, and then share, what you hope to get out of reading the book and discussing the book Distracted, what kind of strategies. What I'd really like to be able for us to do is to report back that there's certain things that we were able to get out of this reading and out of our discussions that we were then able to apply in a class in the spring and actually be able to work with. So as you're reading the book over the break, be thinking about, is there something in there, some kind of strategy that he is talking about that you want to try to employ? And then let's see how it plays out over the course of the semester. And we'll kind of follow it along, and we'll discuss our progress. And hopefully many of us will try different things. And so we'll be able to kind of address, what seemed to work and maybe what didn't work and why, and then hopefully give ourselves a better idea of what strategies we might be able to adopt going forward into the future. So at any rate, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I know we did here. Our son was up from Tallahassee, so we just really enjoyed that. And I look forward to working with you guys, and I really thank all of you for signing up to be part of this. I wanted it to be a success, and I really think that based on who has signed up, I really think that we can't miss. It will be a successful learning community, and we'll have a good time. Okay? So again, I appreciate it, and I hope you all take care, and I'll be in touch real soon.